Transmigrated as a disabled protagonist, how should I continue the script? Chapter 32, Through the Open Path. Yakimaru couldn't wait for the father-in-law to get angry, quietly watching as Mori Ogai left. When he bumped into Tezuka Osamu again, his excitement bubbled over like a harmonious aura, almost engulfing Tezuka Osamu. Dororo's father had grabbed his hand, even placed it into Dororo's hand. His acceptance of their feelings was like the father-in-law approving his pursuit of Dororo. Now, even the form of address was established, and calling it wrong would be a minor issue at best. He had already gained the approval to openly pursue the bandit's daughter as his future girlfriend. How wonderful! This father-in-law, who was thought to be a villain, turned out to be much friendlier than expected. Is this because of Dororo? It must be that Dororo spoke many good words on his behalf, otherwise how would an ordinary family accept him? Yakimaru wasn't someone with low self-esteem, but the years of mental pressure still made him unable to stand with confidence. If the transmigration department were a bit more reliable, he wouldn't have ended up in such a miserable state. Once he regains all of his body parts, he will have the chance to achieve happiness. He wouldn't need to worry about whether the transmigration department would take him back happily or not, as his abilities would allow him to fully establish himself and survive in the ancient world. Life presents a second choice. What are you laughing at? You and Mori-san are both strange, don't let him corrupt you. What Tezuka Osamu liked most about Yakimaru was his pure will. He didn't care about anything else because Yakimaru would never betray him. He placed the cup of water on the table, and Yakimaru reached out, grabbed it, and drank. This scene reminded Tezuka Osamu of the first time they met, when Yakimaru, by the riverside, lifted the water to drink. Back then, he drank the filthy river water, but now he could drink clean water meant for consumption. The years are peaceful. No one has a tragedy that is beyond remedy. Tezuka Osamu quietly thought, even the hair in the light becomes beautiful. It's a pity that this illusionist didn't pursue becoming a cosmetic master, just imagine how many girls would ask for cosmetic assistance. Without thinking, Tezuka Osamu was caught by the hand by Yakimaru, and the illusion vanished. Yakimaru had no concern about his own appearance, losing his tongue didn't matter, what he wanted was to always be together with Dororo. Tezuka Osamu sighed, his thin shoulders bearing a burden of pressure that shouldn't belong to someone of this age. Yakimaru. My aesthetic sense might still be salvageable. In his ears, Yumino Kyusaku's childish voice echoed in the midst of his confusion, the puppet big brother is so cute. It's over. He seems to be getting used to it. After Yakimaru got his right leg back, a prosthetic limb was smoothly removed and placed in Mori Ogai's clinic, which operates without a business license. As a collectible, such a rare prosthetic is probably impossible to find anywhere else in the world. As for the other two, the Sheep King Nakahara Chuya was the first to wake up. Mori Ogai and Nakahara Chuya had a private conversation for a while. Although he couldn't get Nakahara Chuya's agreement, Chuya's attitude toward the port mafia softened somewhat. He no longer looked at Mori Ogai with the same hatred-filled gaze he used to reserve for the former boss. After all, the image Mori Ogai presented was one of actively changing the current state of Yokohama for the better. Of course, when it comes to hidden ruthlessness, the former boss couldn't compare to the current one. Mori Ogai is the type of terrifying boss who can smile while talking about assassinating the former boss and plotting a coup for power. I don't want to stay in the clinic, everything inside carries the breath of Mori-san's schemes. Tezuka Osamu handed Yakimaru the mask once again. In the moment of handing it over, something worldly seemed to slip away. Yakimaru, without a trace of regret over his lost tongue, thought that this world was too mystical. There were demon gods, evil entities, and people with special powers. As long as he followed someone he liked while hunting the demon gods, life wouldn't require much more consideration. The figures of the two disappeared outside the clinic. In the clinic, Rokudo Mukuro also woke up, rubbing his aching head, seeing a repulsive man in a white coat. Who are you? This humble one is just a doctor, practicing medicine to save lives. A doctor? Rokudo Mukuro glanced around, not spotting any flaws. This truly seemed to be a clinic. May I ask, have you seen my two companions? Unsure of his situation and how much danger he was in, Rokudo Mukuro cautiously asked the other person, receiving a clear answer from Mori Ogai. Oh, you're talking about the two young men who look about your age, right? Their injuries seem a bit more serious than yours. I've already bandaged their external wounds, and they're resting in another room. Mori Ogai gleefully looked at the blue-haired boy who had struck fear into the outside mafia world, suddenly darting toward the indicated patient room. Things like shackles exist everywhere. This truly is the era of youth. A few days later, Nakahara Chiya handled a couple of small matters on behalf of Mori Ogai to repay a favor. When he returned to Suribachi Street, he found that the sheep's base had been trashed, and none of the sheep members were waiting there for him. After asking around, he learned that GSS had taken the young boys and girls of the organization away, and the rumors about Suribachi Street had completely disappeared, no longer spreading jokes about Vangala Decimo. The newest rumor was that Nakahara Chiya was closely connected to the incident that destroyed Suribachi Street years ago, and that he was truly a monster. Nakahara Chiya closed his eyes and let out a weary sigh. A monster, then a monster it is. The orange-haired youth squatted at the edge of the stairs, burying his head in his knees, covering his eyes with his hands. Those passing by didn't dare to approach and disturb this gravity manipulator, their eyes filled only with fear and dread. The corrupted force emanating from his body was linked to Arahabaki, and it wouldn't be wrong to call him a god of calamity walking among humans. Humans fear the gods. Isn't that something perfectly natural? As he squatted there, he stayed squatting for the entire afternoon, his legs numb, and the emotions in his eyes treasured deep within his memories. As two sets of footsteps approached, Nakahara Chiya didn't even bother to lift his head. Who is it? He felt something tap the top of his head, and Nakahara Chiya confusedly realized that the force of gravity couldn't resist the figure. Ah, it seemed Arahabaki had been struck down. It's you. He looked at the other person, the reflection of his blue eyes capturing the boy's face. Yakimaru was touching the lowered hood, acknowledging that the overly refined life flame had become purer. Although there was still a dark red demon god at the center, he no longer mistook it as the enemy. The demon god was enveloped in a faint white flame, and as long as it didn't lose control, it wouldn't harm the world. Ah. Not knowing what to say to the person he had fought before. Yakimaru let out a nasal sound, and with Tezuka Osamu's silent consent from behind, communicated with him in a mute manner. You are a human. Nakahara Chiya's hair was disheveled, the orange strands slightly spiky, yet they were easily tousled into a mess under Yakimaru's palm. His blue eyes were vacant, and with his slightly chubby face, he looked like an innocent young boy. From behind, Tezuka Osamu murmured, top tier at playing the victim, Chiya. Nakahara Chiya, having lost the energy to argue, covered his face and said, Did you all just come to laugh at me? Tezuka Osamu shrugged, Who's laughing at you? It's Yakimaru who wanted to find you. Nakahara Chiya had a certain psychological shadow towards Yakimaru. You're not going to hunt me down again, are you? Yakimaru. Unable to understand what he's saying, Yakimaru pointed to his leg. Nakahara Chiya glanced over as Yakimaru pointed to his right leg. Confused, Nakahara couldn't grasp the skill to see through illusion. Tezuka Osamu had to step forward, patting Yakimaru's shoulder. At that moment, Nakahara Chiya saw it clearly, the right leg of Yakimaru had been restored. He was astonished, why is there still one leg that hasn't been restored? Tezuka Osamu, playing with Yakimaru's mask in his hand, smiled and said, It's a long story, and it has a bit to do with you. Why don't we have a proper exchange about it later? Nakahara Chiya was about to speak when his eyes met Yakimaru's directly. Nakahara Chiya's legs gave way, and he sat down on the ground, his soul practically leaving his body, forgetting the words in his mind. Yakimaru, not having touched him, looked down in confusion. Why did he get shorter? The figure, originally filled with a life flame, collapsed onto the ground like a large pancake. A mashed bean filling. Daily tormenting of the Sheep King, 1/1. The three of them walked along Suribachi Street, heading toward the battle-ridden staircase leading to the rooftop. Nakahara Chuya, in front, was sulking and didn't think to look back at the other two. He only heard Tezuka Osamu, speaking to Yakimaru with gleeful mischief. "Yakimaru, I told you there's no need to go out of your way to drag him along. Next time we order lunchboxes, let's specifically call him and make him deliver it at top speed." "I don't deliver lunchboxes." Nakahara Chuya turned around and shouted. "Ah." Tezuka Osamu continued to gossip with the deaf Yakimaru, saying, "There's also a courier, a newspaper vendor, a milk delivery guy. This little dwarf sure has a lot of side jobs." Nakahara Chuya, feeling slightly embarrassed, said, "At least I earn my own money, which is better than being a lazy freeloader." He was obviously referring to Tezuka Osamu. Tezuka Osamu pulled out a card. "I'll check how much money is in here." Nakahara Chuya was stunned and quickly rummaged through his own pockets. When did his bank card end up in Tezuka Osamu's hands? "Give it back." Tezuka Osamu slipped behind Yakimaru, his fingers as if magic, quickly make the card disappear. Before the two could continue playing around, Yakimaru patted himself down and found a card that had been placed on him. Nakahara Chuya, with lightning speed, snatched it back, and Tezuka Osamu complained, "Yakimaru, I noticed you're helping him." Yakimaru was genuinely wronged. Due to this accusation, Yakimaru started pulling out several items from his body, including a listening device, a GPS tracker, a signal transmitter, etc. These items were tucked into the inner seams of his yukata, sleeves, belt, and even the soles of his wooden sandals. Practically his entire body was equipped with these extra gadgets. "Are you a pervert?" Nakahara Chuya shouted loudly at Tezuka Osamu. Tezuka Osamu broke into a cold sweat. Animal instincts is too much. Without any need for investigation, he was already being scolded. "Damn it, I'm not a pervert." "Yakimaru." Tezuka Osamu stuffed the item in the other's hand into his pocket, preventing him from continuing to search. By this time, Yakimaru had already put his mask back on, returning to his normal state. "Dororo." Tezuka Osamu smiled, "Let's go." Yakimaru stepped up the stairs with him, and in the world of his mind's eye, two flames flickered, guiding the way. Not far away, the Vongala family was in the midst of a battle with Rokudo Mukuro. It's like destiny repeats itself, the past will always return. Rokudo Mukuro's cursed fate with the Vongala family will continue until he is purified of his hatred by Sawada Tsunayoshi's life flame, no longer seeking to wash the mafia in blood. The bright, dazzling orange life flame soared into the sky, a radiant burst of life force. Sawada Tsunayoshi was risking his life to save his companions. Yakimaru's fingers slightly twitched. Holding his hand, Tezuka Osamu, sensing his thoughts, asked, "There's a battle ahead, did you see something?" Yakimaru thought to himself, "A brilliant and pure life. This world is truly vibrant and colorful." Chapter 32 End.